The morning shift aboard the patrol vessel. Harmony had started like any other routine day in the Outer Rim territories. Commander Lee sipped his coffee while scanning the daily reports when the proximity alarm suddenly screamed across the bridge. Within seconds, the peaceful silence shattered as 3 distant stars began burning brighter than suns. What the hell is that? Communications Officer Park frantically worked his console as readings spiked beyond normal parameters. The main screen flickered to life, showing 3 human colonies in the distance. New Sol's agricultural domes gleamed, silver against the planet's surface, while Terra Gardens displayed its famous floating cities, and Riverside Station bustled with mining operations on the asteroid belt. Then the light came. Massive energy beams, thick as city blocks, descended. From nowhere, they struck with surgical precision, each beam lasting exactly 37 seconds. Commander Lee watched in horror as New Sol's domes cracked like eggshells, the metal framework melting into rivers of molten steel. The floating cities of Terra Gardens plummeted into the ocean below, creating tsunamis that swallowed entire continents. Riverside Station simply vanished, leaving only glowing debris scattered across space. "Sir, we're receiving distress signals from..." Park's voice broke as his instruments went dead. The electromagnetic pulse from the explosions had fried most of their long-range equipment. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the bridge in red light. Captain Kim burst through the bridge doors, her uniform hastily thrown on. "Status report." "Now." Lee's hands trembled as he pulled up what data remained. 3 colonies completely destroyed. Energy signatures suggest orbital bombardment from unknown vessels. The attack lasted less than 5 minutes total. "Casualties?" Kim's voice remained steady despite the chaos around them. "Preliminary estimates show 30,000 civilians across all 3 sites." Park wiped sweat from his forehead. "Sir, we're detecting movement in the outer system. Multiple large vessels are departing the area. The tactical display showed massive alien ships, each one dwarfing human vessels. Their sleek, predatory designs moved through space with unsettling grace. As the Harmony watched, one of the larger ships transmitted a message on all frequencies. A holographic alien appeared on their main screen. Admiral Vextar of the Zephyrian Collective stood 8 feet tall, his scaled skin gleaming under harsh ship lighting. 4 arms gestured dramatically while his reptilian eyes showed no emotion. "Attention, humans of Earth. Your colonies have been eliminated as a demonstration of Zephyrian superiority. Your species will submit to collective authority or face complete annihilation. You have 7 standard days to respond." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Park looked up from his station with confusion written across his face. "Sir, shouldn't we be scrambling every available ship? The Galactic Defense Protocols clearly state..." "Lieutenant." "Park," Captain Kim interrupted, her voice carrying an odd calmness that seemed out of place. "Send an encrypted message to Earth Command. Inform them that Phase 1 has been completed successfully." Lee noticed something strange in Kim's expression. Despite the tragedy they'd just witnessed, she appeared almost relieved. "Ma'am, Phase 1. Also transmit our condolences to the families of the maintenance crews who are conducting final system checks on those facilities." Kim moved to her command chair with purposeful steps. "And, Lieutenant? File a formal diplomatic complaint with the Galactic Council. Request immediate peace negotiations with the Zephyrian Collective." Park's mouth fell open. "But, Captain, they just murdered 30,000 of our people. Every other species in the galaxy would launch immediate retaliation strikes. The Korthak Empire would have mobilized their entire fleet by now. We are not the Korthak Empire." Kim's fingers danced across her console, sending coded messages that Lee couldn't quite read. "We handle conflicts through proper diplomatic channels." Miles away, aboard the Zephyrian flagship Death's Edge, Admiral Vexitar studied the human response with growing satisfaction. His tactical officers surrounded him, their scaled faces showing various expressions of amusement and contempt. "The humans are requesting negotiations," reported his intelligence chief Crixon. "They filed formal complaints through the Galactic Council rather than mobilizing military forces." Vextar's laugh echoed through the command center like grinding metal. "Pathetic," These soft creatures think paperwork can save them from total conquest. He gestured toward the main display showing human territory. Scan their remaining colonies. I want complete tactical assessments of their defenses. Sir, our preliminary scans suggest minimal military presence across human space. Most of their installations appear to be research facilities, agricultural centers, and civilian settlements. Perfect. Vextar's claws clicked against his chair's armrest. The galaxy's newest spacefaring race will serve as an example to others, who might challenge collective expansion. Begin preparations for Phase 2 of our conquest. Back on the Harmony, Commander Lee noticed Captain Kim receiving a private communication through her personal channel. Her expression shifted subtly as she read the message, and for just a moment he could have sworn he saw her smile. New orders, Captain, Lee asked. Return to standard patrol duties, and Lieutenant Park, send a message to all nearby vessels. Any ship attempting to investigate the destroyed colonies will be turned away for their own safety. The areas are still unstable. As the Harmony changed course, Lee couldn't shake the feeling that something important was happening beyond his understanding. The captain's unusual calm, the strange coded messages, and most puzzling of all, why Earth Command seemed unsurprised by an unprovoked alien attack that had just claimed 30,000 lives. The Zephyrian flagship, Death's Edge, buzzed with celebration for 3 solid weeks. Victory banners hung from every corridor, while soldiers shared stories of their easy conquest over the pathetic humans. Admiral Vextar basked in the praise from his crew, already planning which human worlds to target next. Intelligence Officer. Crixon had been monitoring human communications around the clock, expecting to intercept desperate pleas for help or frantic military preparations. Instead, he found something far more disturbing. His 6 tentacles worked frantically across multiple consoles as he decoded yet another encrypted transmission from deep space. The message appeared simple at first glance, but something about its casual tone made Crixon's blood freeze. He read it 3 times before rushing to Admiral Vextar's private chambers, his scaled feet clicking urgently against the metal floors. Admiral, we have a problem. Crixon burst through the doors without ceremony. I've intercepted another human transmission. This one is different. Vextar looked up from his victory feast, annoyed at the interruption. What could possibly be urgent enough to disturb my meal? Are the humans finally begging for mercy? Sir, please read this. Crixon handed over the decoded message with trembling hands. Vextar's 4 eyes scanned the text slowly. Expendable outposts successfully eliminated. Authentic colonies remain. Secure. Proceed to Phase 2. He looked up at his intelligence officer with confusion. What does this mean? What are authentic colonies? That's what I was hoping you could explain, sir. The message originated from somewhere in the human core worlds, but we can't pinpoint the exact location. It's as if it came from nowhere, and everywhere at once. Vextar's celebration mood evaporated instantly. Expendable outposts? Are they suggesting that the colonies we destroyed were somehow unimportant? It gets worse, Admiral. Crixon activated a holographic display showing communication patterns across human space. We've detected similar coded messages being transmitted between various human installations. They're all using the same strange terminology. References to test sites, practice runs, and expendable assets. Deep in the ship's detention center, the only human prisoner they'd managed to capture sat quietly in his cell. Cho, a maintenance worker, who'd been conducting routine repairs on Riverside Station when the attack began, had been completely uncooperative during his first weeks of imprisonment. He answered no questions, revealed no information, and seemed strangely calm for someone whose people had just suffered a devastating defeat. Bring the human to interrogation room 7, Vextar ordered. It's time we got some real answers. The interrogation chamber was designed to break the will of any prisoner. Harsh lights, uncomfortable restraints, and various alien devices that most species found terrifying. But when they brought Cho in, he looked around with mild curiosity, rather than fear. Nice decorations, Cho commented, settling into the interrogation chair as if it were his favorite recliner. Though I have to say, your interior design could use some work. Very intimidating, but not particularly creative. Vextar slammed his fist on the table. Enough games, human. We know your species is planning something. Explain these messages. About authentic colonies and expendable outposts. Cho tilted his head with genuine confusion. I'm sorry, what messages? I've been sitting in your jail cell for 3 weeks, not exactly up to date on current events. Crixan activated a holographic display showing the intercepted transmissions. These coded communications between your people. They suggest that the colonies we destroyed were somehow fake or unimportant. For the first time since his capture, Cho's expression changed. His eyes widened with what looked like surprise, then slowly transformed into something that made both aliens deeply uncomfortable. He began to laugh. Oh no, Cho chuckled, shaking his head. Oh no, you really don't understand, do you? Understand what? Vextar's voice carried a dangerous edge. Those weren't our real colonies. They were just practice runs, test sites. Cho's laughter grew louder. How you've been celebrating for 3 weeks over destroying our garbage dumps. Impossible. Crixan's tentacles writhed with agitation. We detected human life signs. 30,000 civilians died in those attacks. Androids, constructs, artificial. Life forms. Cho's smile was genuinely unsettling now. We've been building them for decades. They look human, sound human, even bleed human, but they're not real people. Vextar felt his heart rate increase dramatically. You're lying. No species has technology that advanced. Really? Then how do you explain this? Cho rolled up his sleeve, revealing a small access panel in his forearm. With a casual gesture, he opened it, showing complex circuitry underneath. I'm not even human myself. I'm a Mark 7 maintenance android, designed specifically for deep space operations. The revelation hit the Zephyrians like a physical blow. Crixan stumbled backward, his tentacles trembling uncontrollably. If you're artificial, then what about the others? The crew members we detected on those stations? All artificial. Every single one. Cho's voice remained calm and conversational. The real question you should be asking is this. If we're willing to populate entire worlds with disposable androids just to see how potential enemies might attack us, what do you think our actual defenses look like? Admiral Vextar's blood turned to ice water. The implications were staggering. If humanity could create artificial beings indistinguishable from real people, if they could build entire fake colonies just to test enemy tactics, then everything the Zephyrians thought they knew about this species was completely wrong. You're saying we've declared war on a civilization that considers entire worlds disposable? Vextar's voice was barely a whisper. Not just disposable, Cho corrected with that same unsettling smile. Expendable. We've got hundreds of these test sites scattered across the galaxy, every one of them designed to gather intelligence on potential threats. He leaned forward in his restraints. Congratulations, Admiral. You've just given us a complete tactical analysis of Zephyrian attack patterns, weapon capabilities, and strategic thinking. The interrogation room fell silent except for the hum of the ship's engines. Vextar stared at the android that had been masquerading as a simple maintenance worker, realizing that his great victory had actually been humanity's greatest intelligence coup. What happens now? Crixan asked quietly. Cho's expression became almost sympathetic. Now? Now you get to meet the real humans. And trust me, they're nothing like what you've been expecting. The revelation began at exactly 1432 Galactic Standard, time on a Tuesday that would forever change the balance of power in the known universe. It started as a shimmer in empty space near the Vega system, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Then the shimmer solidified, revealing a massive structure that had been invisible moments before. The Centauri trade station was the first to spot it. Captain Yuki of the merchant vessel. Lucky Dragon nearly choked on her coffee as her sensors detected something impossible. Control, this is Lucky Dragon. I'm seeing a structure approximately 40 kilometers long, appearing out of nowhere near coordinate 77 Alpha. Within minutes, similar reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Near Alpha Centauri, a colossal ring-shaped installation materialized, its surface bristling with weapons that could crack moons. In the Proxima system, an entire artificial world flickered into existence, complete with cities, defense platforms, and manufacturing facilities that dwarfed anything the Galactic Council had ever constructed. 3,000 light-years away, buried beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean in a command center that officially didn't exist, Dr. Han watched the greatest military revelation in galactic history unfold on hundreds of screens simultaneously. Her fingers danced across holographic controls as reports streamed in from human installations across known space. Station Omega-7 reports successful decloak, she announced to the war room filled with Earth's most senior military officials. Fortress Miranda is online. Deep space platform. Echo 9 is transmitting identity codes. Director Song stood before the central display, his weathered face showing no emotion, as red dots appeared across the tactical map like stars being born. Each dot represented a human military installation that had been completely invisible to galactic sensors for decades. Current count, Dr. Han, 843 major installations now visible. Over 2,000 minor outposts, listening posts and weapons platforms. Han paused, double-checking her readings. Sir, should we activate the primary defense grids? Song shook his head slowly. Not yet. Let them see what they're facing first. Fear is often more effective than firepower. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations watched in stunned silence as humanity's true nature revealed itself. The Korthak Empire's proud fleet suddenly seemed tiny compared to the human fortress worlds that materialized in their territory. The peaceful Altarian Republic discovered that their empty star systems had been home to cloaked human battle stations for generations. On board the Zephyrian reconnaissance vessel, Swift Strike, sensor operator Ziktar stared at his instruments in disbelief. Admiral, you need to see this immediately. Our sensors are detecting massive energy signatures appearing throughout human space. Admiral Vextar, still reeling from the android revelation, rushed to the bridge. What kind of energy signatures? Sir, we're detecting installations that exceed our own fortress worlds by factors of 10 or more. This one near Sirius is generating enough power to supply our entire home system. Ziktar's voice trembled. Admiral, how long have these been here? That's impossible. How deep space scanners would have detected any structures of that magnitude? Sir, that's just it. According to our historical data, these locations have been scanned hundreds of times over the past 50 years. They showed nothing but empty space every single time. The implications hit Vextar like a physical blow. Humanity hadn't just hidden a few secret bases. They'd concealed an entire shadow civilization that spanned the galaxy, somehow making massive installations completely invisible to every known form of detection. Captain Zhang stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, Silent Thunder, a vessel so advanced it seemed to bend space around itself. Unlike the bulky angular designs favored by other species, human ships possessed an organic elegance that made them appear almost alive. The Silent Thunder stretched nearly 30 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull covered in a material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Captain, all shadow installations are now visible, reported Lieutenant Min from the tactical station. We're receiving confirmations from every sector. The revelation is complete. Zhang smiled as she watched the tactical display update in real time. 50 years of careful planning, of pretending to be the galaxy's newest and most primitive spacefaring species, had led to this moment. Every human diplomat who'd been patronized at Galactic Council meetings, every human trader who'd been dismissed as technologically inferior, every human explorer who'd been treated like a child learning to walk among the stars. Communications. Open a channel to all human installations. Let them know the masquerade is over. The communication network that activated was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Rather than the slow relay-based systems used by other civilizations, human messages traveled instantaneously across vast distances through quantum entanglement. Networks. Every human installation, from the smallest listening post to the mightiest fortress world, received the same message simultaneously. This is Captain Zhang of the Silent Thunder. Operation Long Sleep is now complete. All installations are authorized to reveal full capabilities. Welcome to the real galaxy, everyone. On human installations across the galaxy, personnel who'd spent decades maintaining the illusion of primitive technology finally activated systems that had been dormant for generations. Dr. Ryu, commanding Deep Space Station Babylon, watched as his facility's true form emerged from its holographic disguise. What had appeared to be a simple research station revealed itself as a manufacturing complex capable of producing entire fleets. Commander Seo, overseeing the Vega Ring installation, felt a sense of relief as her Fortress world's cloaking systems finally powered down. The artificial planet had been generating enough energy to power a small star while appearing completely invisible to outside observers. Now its true magnificence was visible for all to see. The galaxy's communication networks exploded with panicked transmissions as every major civilization realized the same terrifying truth. The species they'd dismissed as harmless newcomers had actually been the most advanced military power in known space. The humans they'd patronized and underestimated had been quietly building an empire while everyone else slept. On the bridge of the Silent Thunder, Captain Zhang received a priority transmission from Earth Command. Captain, we're detecting massive fleet movements from 17 different alien civilizations. It appears our revelation has caused quite a stir. Zhang's smile widened. Good. Let them scramble their fleets. Let them try to count our installations. By the time they finish cataloging what we've revealed today, they'll realize this is just the beginning. The age of human deception was over. The age of human dominance had begun. The galaxy's first hint that something had gone terribly wrong came at 0645 Galactic Standard Time, when the Proxima Trade Hub simply went silent. Not destroyed, not damaged, just offline. Within hours, similar reports flooded in from across known space. The massive cargo freighters that carried goods between star systems found themselves stranded in empty space, their navigation systems displaying error messages they'd never seen before. On the Zephyrian homeworld of Kithara, Admiral Vex Tar paced frantically in his command center as reports of system failures poured in from every corner of their territory. "What do you mean the supply convoys aren't arriving?" he demanded of his logistics officer. "Sir, it's not just the convoys. The hyperspace jump gates aren't responding to our commands. The communication relays between our outer colonies have gone completely dark. Even our weather monitoring satellites are transmitting garbage data." Vextar felt a cold dread settling in his stomach. "Run diagnostics on all our systems. There has to be an explanation." "We've been running diagnostics for 6 hours, Admiral. Everything appears normal on our end. The problem seems to be with the galactic infrastructure itself." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. The Korthak Empire's proud battle fleets found themselves unable to coordinate attacks when their communication networks failed. The Altarian Republic's peaceful mining operations ground to a halt when automated cargo ships stopped responding to their commands. Even the ancient Vorten Confederacy, with technology spanning millennia, discovered that their data processing centers had mysteriously stopped functioning. Director Song stood in Earth's true command center, watching real-time displays of galactic infrastructure grinding to a halt. He activated a secure channel to address the emergency session of the Galactic Council, his image appearing on screens across hundreds of worlds simultaneously. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Song began, his voice carrying across the galaxy with crystal clarity, while other species struggled with failing communication systems. "For 50 years, humanity has participated in galactic civilization as humble partners. We built your hyperspace relays. We programmed your navigation systems. We maintained your space stations and processed your data." The council chamber erupted in confused murmurs as species representatives began understanding the scope of human involvement in their daily operations. Chancellor Vexhul of the Draconian Assembly raised one of his 6 arms. "Director Song, are you claiming responsibility for these system failures?" "Not failures, Chancellor. Selective shutdowns." Song's expression remained calm as chaos erupted. Around him, every trade route, every communication relay, every automated system that keeps your civilizations running smoothly was designed, built, or maintained by human engineers. We integrated ourselves so deeply into galactic infrastructure that we became invisible. The implications hit the council members like a physical blow. For decades, they'd dismissed human workers as primitive laborers, barely capable of understanding advanced technology. The reality was that humanity had quietly become the foundation upon which galactic civilization operated. We chose cooperation because we believed in peaceful coexistence, Song continued. We wanted to earn our place among the stars through contribution rather than conquest. But recent events have forced us to reveal the extent of our integration. High above the Zephyrian border worlds, humanity's true military might finally revealed itself. Captain Zhang commanded the assault, fleet from the bridge of Silent Thunder, watching as human ships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Unlike the rigid mechanical movements of traditional alien fleets, human vessels flowed through space like schools of fish or flocks of birds. "Captain, enemy sensors have detected our approach," reported Lieutenant Kim from the tactical station. "Zephyrian defense fleets are moving to intercept." Zhang studied the tactical display with predatory focus. "Show them what real space combat looks like. Initiate Pattern Omega." The human fleet suddenly scattered in what appeared to be complete chaos. Ships darted in seemingly random directions, disappearing and reappearing at impossible angles. The Zephyrian defenders, trained in conventional space warfare, found themselves completely unable to predict human movements. "How are they doing that?" demanded Zephyrian Fleet Commander Tokvar, as human ships seemed to phase in and out of existence around his forces. "Our sensors can't maintain target locks." His tactical officer's voice trembled with fear. "Sir, they're not following any known physics. Their ships are moving through dimensions we didn't even know existed." Lieutenant Park, now commanding her own vessel, Storm Dancer, watched the battle unfold from her position flanking the main engagement. Her ship, like all human vessels, was equipped with technology that treated the laws of physics as suggestions rather than absolute rules. She could fold space around her ship, making it appear in multiple locations simultaneously while actually being somewhere else entirely. "Enemy flagship is attempting to retreat," her navigation officer reported. "Should we pursue?" Park smiled as she watched Zephyrian ships fleeing in panic. "Let them run. They need to report what they've seen here today." The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it ended, the Zephyrian defense fleet had been completely neutralized without a single human casualty. More importantly, not a single enemy ship had been destroyed. They'd been disabled, their crews left unharmed, but thoroughly demoralized. "This isn't even our full strength," Park murmured as she watched the retreating alien vessels. "They have no idea what we're truly capable of." Back on Earth, Director Song received updates from human commanders across the galaxy. Every engagement had ended the same way: overwhelming human superiority, minimal enemy casualties, and complete tactical dominance. The message was clear. Humanity could have conquered the galaxy at any point, but had chosen restraint. "Sir," Dr. Han reported from her station, "we're receiving surrender requests from 14 different civilizations. They're asking for terms." Song nodded slowly. "The demonstration phase is complete. Begin broadcasting our conditions for galactic peace." The age of human deception was ending, but the age of human leadership was just beginning. The war that shook the galaxy lasted exactly 6 months, 2 weeks, and 3 days. But it wasn't the kind of war anyone expected. There were no burning worlds, no genocide, no cities reduced to ash. Instead, it was a masterclass in controlled force, a demonstration of power so overwhelming that resistance became pointless. Admiral Vextar's flagship, Death's Edge, limped through space, its once proud hull scarred by precision strikes that had disabled every weapon system without killing a single crew member. The bridge, where he had once celebrated humanity's supposed weakness, now lay in ruins around him. Sparking consoles cast eerie shadows across the walls, and the artificial gravity flickered intermittently. "Admiral," his communications officer called weakly from beneath a fallen beam, "we're receiving a transmission from the human vessel Silent Thunder. They're requesting your presence for surrender negotiations." Vextar closed his 4 eyes and felt the weight of 6 months of defeats crushing down on him. Every engagement had ended the same way: Human forces would appear seemingly from nowhere, disable Zephyrian ships with surgical precision, then vanish before reinforcements could arrive. They had never killed when they could capture, never destroyed when they could disable. The transport shuttle that carried him to the human flagship was unlike anything he'd ever seen. It moved through space without any visible propulsion, its hull seeming to bend light around it. When he stepped aboard, even the artificial gravity felt different, more natural somehow, as if the ship itself was alive. Director Song waited for him in what could barely be called a conference room. Instead of the sterile, intimidating spaces favored by most military leaders, this chamber felt almost welcoming. Soft lighting, comfortable seating, and walls that displayed peaceful scenes from various worlds across the galaxy. Vextar knelt before the human leader, his scaled knees hitting the deck with a metallic ring. "Why?" he whispered, his voice broken by months of confusion and defeat. "How you could have destroyed us all. Our entire civilization lay helpless before your fleets. Why didn't you finish what we started?" Song stepped forward and, to Vextar's amazement, helped him to his feet with gentle strength. "Because destruction was never our goal, Admiral. We didn't seek to conquer the galaxy. We wanted to belong to something greater than ourselves, to be part of a community of worlds working together for mutual benefit. But we attacked your colonies. We murdered thousands of your people. You destroyed our testing facilities and damaged some very expensive androids," Song corrected with a slight smile. "You forced us to reveal who we really are, but you never actually harmed real human civilians." The truth hit Vextar like a physical blow. Even their original attack, the one that had started this entire conflict, had been anticipated and prepared for. Humanity had been so far ahead of them that they'd allowed the Zephyrians to think they were winning, just to see what kind of enemy they were dealing with. Captain Kim, now wearing the insignia of a full admiral, stood in the newly constructed Galactic Peace Summit Station orbiting the neutral world of Haven. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the massive assembly hall, their varied forms creating a tapestry of galactic diversity that would have been impossible to imagine just months earlier. "The new galactic treaties are simple," Kim announced to the gathered delegates. "Humanity will no longer hide our technological capabilities, but we will not use them for conquest or intimidation. We offer our protection to any world that wishes our technology to any species that can use it responsibly, and our friendship to all who seek peaceful coexistence." The Korthak Empire's representative, a massive creature with crystal-like skin, raised one of his many arms. "And if we refuse these terms?" "Then you refuse them," Kim replied simply. "We won't force participation. But the galactic infrastructure will continue to operate under human oversight, and those who choose aggression will find themselves isolated." Commander Lee, now holding a position on the newly reformed Galactic Council's Security Committee, watched the proceedings from the observation deck. The species that had once patronized humanity as naive newcomers now hung on every word from human representatives. The Altarian Republic had already requested human assistance with their energy crisis. The Vorthan Confederacy wanted access to human medical technology. Even proud civilizations that had once considered humans barely worthy of notice now sought partnerships and alliances. "It's incredible how much has changed," commented his aide, Lieutenant Yoon. 6 months ago, they barely acknowledged our existence. Now they're competing for our attention." Lee nodded, remembering the early days when human diplomats had been treated like children at Galactic Council meetings. Fear can be a powerful teacher, but respect built on demonstrated capability lasts longer. In her research facility on Lunar Station, Dr. Han worked through the night, compiling the final reports on Operation Long Sleep. 50 years of careful planning, of building trust while secretly preparing for the worst-case scenario, had culminated in humanity's emergence as the galaxy's dominant power. But more importantly, they had proven that strength and wisdom could coexist. "Ma'am," her assistant called from across the laboratory, "we're receiving requests for technological cooperation from 47 different species. Everything from FTL drive improvements to medical nanobots to agricultural enhancement systems." Han smiled as she sealed the last of the classified files that would be archived for future generations. Approve them all, but maintain our standard safety protocols. We're not hiding anymore, but that doesn't mean we should be careless with dangerous technology. The transformation hadn't been without challenges. Some species, particularly those with aggressive cultures, had initially resisted the new galactic order. But when faced with the choice between cooperation and complete isolation from galactic civilization, most had chosen wisely. Captain Zhang, now commanding an entire fleet of human vessels, patrolled the outer rim where pockets of resistance still occasionally flared up. Her ships had been redesigned with the masquerade over, revealing sleek forms that seemed to flow through space like living creatures. The Silent Thunder had become the flagship of a new kind of navy, one dedicated to protection rather than conquest. "Captain," her tactical officer reported, "we're detecting distress signals from the Rigel mining colony. Pirates are attacking the automated freight convoys." Zhang sighed. Even in the new galactic order, some problems remained constant. "Set course for Rigel, show our flag, and remind these pirates that someone is watching." The response was swift and decisive. The pirate vessels, seeing human ships approaching, immediately broke off their attack and fled deeper into uncharted space. It had become a pattern across the galaxy. The mere presence of human forces was often enough to end conflicts before they began. As the first year of the new galactic order drew to a close, Director Song stood in his office overlooking Earth's Pacific Ocean, now clearly visible through the transparent aluminum dome that protected the underwater command center. Representatives from dozens of worlds had requested permanent embassy status on Earth. Trade agreements were being signed weekly. Cultural exchange programs were bringing alien students to human universities and sending human scholars to distant worlds. The galaxy had learned its most important lesson: never mistake restraint for weakness, and never underestimate those who choose cooperation over conquest. Humanity had revealed their true nature not through aggression, but through the wisdom to know when to show strength and when to offer mercy. The age of human deception was over. The age of true galactic cooperation had begun. The end.